Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Tambe and my lecture is on general anesthesia. So, general anesthesia is medically induced loss of consciousness that renders the patient unarousable even with painful stimuli. General anesthesia can be given to any patient. It can be given to a neonate, to an elderly patient. You can give general anesthesia to extreme of ages for every kind of surgery and patients who are in shock, anticoagulant, and there is no contraindication to general anesthesia. The component of GA is amnesia, analgesia, hypnosis, with or without muscle relaxation. So before giving GA, we should do a detailed pre-anesthetic assessment and preoperative advices should be given. Like if patient is on any kind of medication, then which drug should be continued, which drug should be discontinued, that should be told prior to day of surgery. On day of surgery, check the NBM status and check for the consent. Now we need anesthesia machine or workstation for giving anesthesia, and there should be a airway trolley and it should have endotracheal tube, laryngoscope, supraglottic airway, then airway, oral, nasal, then stillate, suction. The machine should have oxygen, nitrous oxide, vaporizers for administration of volatile agents, and monitor should be available. All emergency drugs should be available, but the drug which are required for giving GA, they should be prepared and they should be labeled properly. IV fluids should be available, and if you are expecting blood loss, then blood should be arranged. In case of major blood loss surgery, you should have a syringe pump with vasopressors. Once your patient is taken on OT table, all monitors should be attached. So you should monitor the continuous electrocardiogram, oxygen saturation, blood pressure. It can be NIBP, non-invasive or invasive depending upon surgery, and intertidal CO2. So this is a capnograph. This should be monitored for a GA patient. Temperature, especially in pediatric population, urine output and blood loss should be noted, and blood loss should be replaced during the surgery. There are additional monitoring like this, and there should be agent concentration if it is a multipara monitor with respiratory gas monitor. The different steps of general anesthesia are pre-medication, where we give drugs before the inducing agents. Then pre-oxygenation, we give induction agent to make the patient unconscious, and muscle relaxant for vocal cord relaxation. Then airway is secured with endotracheal tube. You can also use supraglottic airway devices, and patient is maintained on oxygen, nitrous oxide, volatile agents, and intermittent doses of neuromuscular blocking agent. Reversal is done at the end of surgery with anticholinesterase, and then patient is conscious and has adequate tone and power. Patient is extubated, and post-op we should monitor for the vitals. So pre-medication is given to allay the anxiety. We usually give benzodiazepine like injection, diazepam and midazolam for that. Then to prevent bradycardia and secretion, we give anticholinergic agents like atropine and glycopyrrolate, and it's most commonly given in pediatric population. Then anti-aspiration prophylaxis, pantoprazole and ondansetron, and analgesic. Mainly opioids are used as an analgesic, but non-opioids like alpha-2 agonist can also be given. So pre-oxidation is done Here you can see a face mask giving 100% oxygen. So we give it for 3 minutes. If it is a difficult intubation or pregnant patient, then it can be given for 3 to 5 minutes. And alternatively, you can also give it for 8 vital capacity breaths. It denitrogenates the functional capacity of lungs, so it maximizes the oxygen storage. When we are intubating the patient, there is apnea period. So when we adequately pre-oxygenate the patient, it protects from this desaturation during the period of apnea. After that, rapid-acting inducing agent is given to render the patient unconscious. Propofol is one of the most popular agent for that. For proper vocal cord relaxation and proper intubating condition, we give muscle relaxant. It can be depolarizing and it can be non-depolarizing agent depending on the choice of anesthetist and depending on the patient's condition. When the patient is in apneic state, we maintain the patient's ventilation through the mask and we give intermittent positive pressure ventilation. After that, intubation is done. We need laryngoscope, we need proper size endotracheal tube, and nowadays we have more advanced gadget like video laryngoscope and flexible bronchoscope in case of difficult intubation. Alternatively, we can also use supraglottic airway, but they have specific indication and contraindication. Once your patient is intubated, the endotracheal tube is secured and taped and attached to anesthesia circuit, and then patient is ventilated. Patient can be ventilated through the ventilator or manually ventilated. And during this intra-op period, we monitor all the hemodynamic parameters and they should be duly noted also. So maintenance of anesthesia, it is done on oxygen, nitrous oxide, inhalational agents like sevoflurane, halothane, desflurane, isoflurane, and intermittent doses of neuromuscular blocking agent after giving the bolus dose is used to maintain. The neuromuscular blocking agents mostly we use are vecuronium, atracurium and rocuronium. At the end of surgery, patient is reversed with anticholinesterase agent like neohistamine, as we do not want the muscarinic side effect of neohistamine like bradycardia and salivation. So we use injection glycopyrrolate, that is an anticholinergic agent mixed with neohistamine. When the patient regains consciousness and has adequate tone and power, and patient is able to maintain airway and patient is responding to our oral commands, the patient is extubated. After that, on post-op period, we watch for vital parameters and we also give pain relief to patient. Now the drugs which are used, induction agent. These are the drugs that are given intravenously in appropriate dose causes a rapid loss of consciousness. So drugs which used are ketamine, thiopentone, propofol and etomidate. They are used as an inducing agent before giving the relaxant to maintain the anesthesia, and they can also be used as sole drug for short surgical procedure. And this drug can also be used as sedative agent in ICU. Propofol, it is a 2,6-diisopropylphenol. 1% solution means 10 milligram per ml, and it contains soybean oil, glycerol and egg lecithin. So it should not be given to patients who have egg allergies. Its mechanism of action is it causes facilitation of inhibitory neurotransmitter mediated by GABA. So it is a GABA mimetic drug and causes CNS depression. It has high lipid solubility which causes rapid onset of action and its rapid offset is due to redistribution as well as elimination. So, it is a drug which is known for clear-headed recovery. Systemic effect. On CNS, it causes decrease in systemic vascular resistance. So, hypotension, which is more pronounced than the thiopentone, and it can cause bradycardia also. So, it should not be given to the patient who are dehydrated or in shock. Respiratory system, it causes profound respiratory depression leading to apnea. So, you should be prepared to maintain the airway. Then it inhibits the hypoxic ventilatory drive and depresses the normal response to hypercarbia. It also causes depression of upper airway reflexes, so it can lead to aspiration in a patient with full stomach. On CNS, it decreases the cerebral blood flow and it decreases intracranial pressure. So it can be given to the patient of head injury with increased intracranial pressure. It also causes decrease in intraocular pressure and can be given in patients of ophthalmic surgeries. It also has antiemetic property. 10 to 20 milligram IV can be given for that. Then it also acts as anticonvulsant agent. The dosage for induction of anesthesia 1.5 to 2.5 milligram per kilogram, and for IV sedation you can give 25 to 100 mics per kg per minute. For maintenance of anesthesia 100 to 300 mics per kg per minute IV infusion. After a infusion, propofol infusion syndrome can happen. Prolonged high-dose infusion of propofol more than 4 milligram per kilogram per minute for longer than 24 minutes can lead to this. It is characterized by sudden onset of refractory bradycardia leading to asystole in presence of 1 or more of the following: high anion gap, metabolic acidosis, rhabdomyolysis, hyperlipidemia, and or enlarged liver. So that should be kept in mind when you have given propofol as a infusion. Other side effects are there are pain and injection, hypotension, respiratory depression, and it is a good culture medium for bacteria. So it should not be used for after more than 6 hours of opening the vial. It should be discarded. Then ketamine. Ketamine is phencyclidine derivative. It is N-methyl D-aspartate receptor antagonist. It causes dissociative anesthesia. So patient have a sense of dissociation from the body. It also causes hallucination, especially in young females. It can be given through IV, IM, oral, intrathecal or epidural route. It is more lipid soluble, less protein bound than thiopentone, and it metabolized in liver to active metabolite norketamine. So on repeated administration, the accumulation can happen. The dose IV induction you can give 1 to 2 milligram per kilogram. For IM administration 4 to 8 milligram per kilogram. Onset of action with IV is instant, but with IM it takes 20 to 30 minutes. Analgesic dose 0.2 to 0.5 milligram can be given, especially in radiological setup for CT and MRI. Systemic effect. On CNS, it causes increase in cerebral blood flow, increase in cerebral metabolic oxygen demand, increase in intracranial pressure. So it should not be given to the patient who have known epilepsy. Then CVS, it causes sympathetic nervous system stimulation like increase in heart rate, blood pressure, cardiac output, increase in myocardial oxygen demand. So caution should be taken when using in IHD patient. But it is a good agent, inducing agent for patients who are hemodynamically unstable. Ketamine per se doesn't cause depression of ventilation. and upper airway tone is maintained. Upper airway reflex is intact, but it causes increase in salivary secretion. So an anticholinergic agent should be given prior to administering ketamine. It is a bronchodilator, so it is useful in asthmatic patient. It causes increase in intraocular pressure, so should not be used in eye surgery. Thiopentone. Thiopentone is ultra-short acting barbiturate and it causes depression of reticular activating system. It suppresses the transmission of excitatory neurotransmitter and it enhances the transmission of inhibitory neurotransmitter. Like other inducing agent, it is also a GABA mimetic agent. It is a barbituric acid derivative. It comes as pale yellow powder and it is prepared in inert nitrogen environment. It is available as sodium salt, which is water soluble. To prepare it, you have to mix 20 ml of normal saline and then you prepare a 2.5% solution. The pH of 2.5% solution thiopentone is 10.5, so it's an alkaline drug. Once prepared, you can use it for 2 weeks. It is a highly protein-bound drug, so its dose should be reduced when there is chances of hypoproteinemia. Duration of action is short, but it is mostly because rapid redistribution. Maximum brain uptake, it happens within 30 seconds and subsequent redistribution to peripheral circulation, it lowers the plasma and brain circulation to 10% of peak level within 20 to 30 minutes. Systemic effects on CNS, it causes decrease in blood pressure and there is a reflex increase in heart rate. So should be used cautiously in patients who are hemodynamically unstable. On respiratory system, it causes decrease in tidal volume and decrease in respiratory rate. It also decreases ventilatory response to hypercapnia and hypoxia and it can cause bronchospasm or laryngospasm. So it should be cautiously used in a patient of asthma. Asthma is a relative contraindication for use of thiopentone. On CNS, it causes decrease in cerebral blood flow, decrease in intracranial pressure, decrease in cerebral perfusion pressure, and decrease in cerebral oxygen consumption. So thiopentone, it has a brain protecting effect and can be used to lower the raised ICP. It is an analgesic, so when you are giving it for short surgical procedure, you have to add an analgesic. On renal system, it decreases the renal blood flow and GFR in proportion to fall in blood pressure. On liver, the hepatic blood flow is decreased. Induction of hepatic enzymes increases the rate of metabolism of some drugs and it can also induce aminolevulinic acid synthetase. So it can precipitate porphyria and hence it should not be used in the patient of porphyria. So the complication when given intraarterial injection, it can cause intense vasoconstriction leading to excruciating pain along course of artery. It can cause gangrene due to occlusion of distal circulation. For the treatment, you have to leave the needle at the site and they dilute the drug and we should take measures to prevent the arterial spasm and we should try to maintain the blood circulation to that limb. So you can use injection lignocaine, papaverine, phenoxybenjamin and you can also give stellate ganglion block and brachial plexus block to induce vasodilatation. Now pre-medication agent, midazolam is short-acting benzodiazepine. It is a GABA mimetic drug. It has a rapid onset of action. On IV administration, the onset is 1 to 3 minutes and IM 5 minutes. It has a shorter duration of action in comparison to diazepam and it has no injection pain. because it is water soluble, where a diazepam used to have injection pain. It causes dose dependent CNS depression. On higher doses, it can be used as inducing agent, and it also has anti-convulsant properties. The doses for IV, we give 0.02 to 0.03 milligram per kilogram, IM 0.07 to 0.08 milligram per kilogram, oral you can give 0.2 milligram per kilogram, especially in pediatric patient before taking the IV cannula, and nasal administration can also be done with 0.2 milligram per kilogram. Now we use opioids as an analgesic during general anesthesia. Morphine is a naturally occurring opioid, but the common opioid we use are fentanyl, pethidine. Then there are newer opioids like alfentanyl, sufentanil, remifentanil. Fentanyl, it is a synthetic opioid, whereas morphine was natural. It is more potent than morphine. It has highly lipid solubility. So peak analgesia, it occurs in 5 minutes after IV injection. It's highly protein bound drug, 80 to 85%, and has short duration of action. So it is an ideal agent for short duration surgery. The dose we give is 1 to 3 microgram per kilogram IV. It can also be used for ICU sedation, and for post-op analgesia, transdermal fentanyl patches are available. So for summary, GA, it is safest analgesia. It can be given to the patient who are hemodynamically unstable and who are on anticoagulant, who are patient on extremes of ages, and patient's cooperation is not needed, unlike spinal or regional anesthesia. But there are some drawbacks. First, intubation, it can lead to pressure response. During the intubation and extubation, there may be increase in blood pressure and increase in pulse rate, which can be detrimental to patient of IHD. The need to establish definite airway can lead to complication, especially in difficult intubation scenario, and it can lead to aspiration when the patient is full stomach. Thank you.